Svetlana, or as her husband tenderly called her, Svetik, was a quiet, patient woman, though not without a strong character, especially when someone dared to step on her sore spot. And in her life, that sore spot was her mother-in-law, Zinaida Petrovna. By all accounts, Zinaida was a kind woman in public, warm-hearted with strangers, cheerful at the store, always smiling to neighbors. But the moment she crossed her son's threshold, it was as though a switch flipped in her head. She instantly transformed into a commanding general, ready to fight for her precious boy's happiness. That evening, she burst into the apartment without even removing her shoes. "Son," she declared from the doorway, her voice booming with urgency. "Your sister is getting a divorce. So you must vacate this apartment immediately. I've already decided everything. She needs a place to hide from that scoundrel, and this is where she'll be hiding." "Mama, calm down. What are you talking about?" asked her son Andrei, peeking out of the kitchen in surprise, a bowl of his wife's delicious borscht still in his hands. "You heard me perfectly well," Zinaida replied. "You just finished renovating this place a week ago. It's stunning, absolutely charming. The perfect little nest. Nadia will be so comfortable here." Andrei froze in disbelief. "Mama, are you out of your mind? This is my apartment." "Yours?" Zinaida scoffed. "It's ours, a family inheritance. Your father and I went through hell to get it, you have no idea. So don't argue with me. Start packing. Nadia will be moving in tomorrow with her things." Up until now, Svetlana had been quietly washing the dishes, avoiding the quarrel. But she slowly removed her apron, dried her hands on a towel, and said in a calm, perhaps too calm, voice, "Zinaida Petrovna, is this supposed to be some kind of joke? Because if it is, it's in very poor taste. I stopped joking, dearie, when you were still in diapers," the mother-in-law said proudly. "I'm serious. In this family, my younger daughter comes first. Understood? Well, maybe she's first in your family," Svetlana replied coolly. "But here, in my family, things are different. My family is me, my husband, and our children." "Don't argue with me," snapped Zinaida. "You must see that without this apartment Nadia is doomed. You two are young, you'll manage just fine. Rent a place. This apartment, as I've already said, goes to Nadia." Svetlana rolled her eyes. She had long noticed that in her mother-in-law's world, her son was always the resilient boy who would cope no matter what, while her daughter was forever the poor, fragile victim of life. "Zinaida Petrovna," Svetlana said, her voice now less restrained, "do you even realize that this so-called charming little nest, this renovation, everything was paid for with my money?" Zinaida shrugged. "So what? Is that such a tragedy? Surely money isn't the most important thing in your family? Nadia is suffering, that's the real tragedy. Her husband cheated on her, and then the scoundrel insulted her on top of it. The only tragedy will be yours if you keep insisting on this nonsense," Svetlana said icily. "Let me show you exactly whose apartment this is, Zinaida Petrovna." She stood up sharply, her movements deliberate, almost threatening. Zinaida froze, her eyes narrowing, lips trembling. "What's this, Svetka? Are you threatening me now?" "No, not at all," Svetlana replied evenly. "I'm simply spelling it out for you. Every tile in that bathroom, every baseboard in the hallway, every outlet in the wall, I paid for all of it. Of course, Andrei helped with his hands and some money, but the bulk of it came from my pocket, from my salary." "Oh, what a fairy tale!" Zinaida exclaimed indignantly. "And where, pray tell, would you get that kind of money?" "I worked hard," Svetlana shrugged. "Do you even know that word? Work. I didn't live off my husband's wallet or raid my mother's fridge. I worked and earned my own money." Andrei coughed awkwardly. "Svetik, come on, let's not fight. Look, Mama's already upset. This is her personal matter." "Let her be upset," flared Svetlana. "This is my apartment, and I am the mistress here. If Nadia dares to drag her suitcase in, I'll throw her straight out onto the landing. You insolent brat, the mother-in-law sputtered. I lost sleep for your sake, countless nights, don't exaggerate, Svetlana cut her off. You sleep soundly, like a hibernating marmot. And let me remind you, if it weren't for me, your son would still be walking around in socks with holes and eating instant noodles twice a day. I don't understand, Zinaida turned indignantly to her son. Why are you keeping silent, Andrei? Andrei shifted uncomfortably. By nature, he was a good-natured, peace-loving man. And whenever his wife and mother clashed like two raging storms, he preferred to play the part of the furniture, soft, convenient. And indifferent, Mama, you have to understand, he began hesitantly. We really did put our own money into this place, silence. Zinaida roared, completely losing control. I see, my son, you're entirely under this snake's heel. And you? You're under Nadia's heel, Svetlana snapped back, also losing her temper. Nothing is ever enough for your precious daughter. Never enough. One moment she needs an apartment served to her on a silver platter, the next, a car, and then she blames her husband for everything. Maybe I should also hand her my grandmother's earrings while I'm at it. Well then, Zinaida would not relent. I'll be back. Mark my words, Nadia will move in here. And we'll see who wins. She leapt to her feet, stormed toward the door, tugging on her boots as she went. The door slammed so hard the chandelier swayed. Andrei sat at the table, spoon of borscht suspended in midair, gazing at his wife with regret. Svetik, he said cautiously. You're amazing, of course, but maybe you went a little too far. No, darling, Svetlana replied firmly. I said exactly what needed to be said. Otherwise, your mother would have dragged Nadia's suitcases in here tomorrow. But Nadia, she's your sister, he began. Nadia. Don't make me laugh, Svetlana snapped. She's 30 years old. A grown woman. She chose her man, now she can deal with the consequences. Why should I sacrifice my children's comfort just so your sister can live the sweet life? Andrei scratched the back of his head. His wife's arguments were hard to deny. All right then, he sighed heavily. I guess that means Mama won't be visiting us again anytime soon. Svetlana laughed, she can try. I'll give her such a welcome she'll run straight back home. And let me warn you, if this Nadia issue comes up again, I won't be responsible for my actions. A week later, Zinaida Petrovna returned, this time with Nadia in tow. Nadia's eyes were red from crying, her lips pouty, her whole look radiating the air of a grand-scale victim. Well, Zinaida announced triumphantly. Here's Nadia with her things. Behind her loomed a suitcase so large it could have held a small refrigerator. Svetlana opened the door just 15 centimeters, leaned against it, and said coolly, Ladies, I think you've mistaken the door. The shelter for poor orphans is one floor up. Nadia recoiled in fright, while her mother-in-law hissed like an angry cat, Svetka. Have you completely lost your mind? Won't you even let your husband's own sister across the threshold? Forgive me, Svetlana said calmly. But to me, she is nobody. And no one enters my apartment without my permission. I am your husband's mother. Zinaida raised her voice. Call him here at once, I'll talk to him. You'd better head home, slowly and carefully, Svetlana sighed. Before I call the police and have you arrested for trespassing and disturbing the peace. Zinaida's eyes bulged. Andrei. Son. Come out here. She shrieked. Andrei cautiously poked his nose out of the kitchen, then just as quickly pulled it back in. He remembered his wife's words all too well, and the thought of having to rent another place didn't appeal to him one bit. This time, he chose silence as the safest option. He's not available for you today, Svetlana snapped, slamming the door shut. For another 5 minutes, Zinaida stomped and shouted in the stairwell until the neighbors began peeking out. Finally, humiliated, she retreated. Nadia sobbed as her giant suitcase bumped down the stairs, and within days, the gossip spread through the courtyard. Svetlana had thrown out her mother-in-law and sister-in-law and defended her apartment. Some disapproved, but most, especially the wives, sighed with envy. Ah, if only we had that kind of courage. Meanwhile, Svetlana poured herself tea, gazed at the gleaming, freshly renovated hallway, and smiled with satisfaction. Yes, the renovation really is a little jewel, she murmured to herself. And that's exactly how it should be. A jewel that's mine, and one I'll never give away.